Hey everybody, welcome back to Ravenstead. It's time for another build. Got tile number 13 of 16 total in the Hidden Valley series. This one's going to be pretty tall. I'm going to build up some blocks of foam here and get some interesting shapes. I'm going to use a craft knife here. I don't cut myself, so don't worry about that. I'm pretty aggressive in here, kind of removing out sections. So I've got to match it to its neighbor tile. So this is the back corner, so I wanted to make sure it was pretty tall. This piece of foam I had used actually as an archery target. So those 3 holes there are from arrows. So it's a little beat up. The edges were good. I just needed to do a little bit of texturing to kind of blend everything in, and then we're going to take care of those blemishes later on. Add in some little rocks or something like that to cover them up. Go ahead and glue this piece up. Just give it a little squish there and hot glue them together. And then we'll put our rocks in. So they're going to go there where those divots are. Just cover up those things. No big worries. And I decided I wanted to kind of continue that catwalk from the other 2 tiles. Or actually 3 tiles. It's a pretty long route. I got my lumber box there and looted that out for a couple pieces of foam that's textured up to look like lumber. I just used that wire brush to put a kind of a grain into the foam. I remembered to underprime where I wasn't going to be able to reach. So we're learning. I imagined this part of the catwalk from this upper section of the hill being just kind of like a drop off. So you'd come with a cart or a wheelbarrow full of ore or rock and you just kind of dump it off. And then the next person would pick it up and carry on down the catwalk. So I'm going to prime everything out with a little bit of Mod Podge and black acrylic paint. That'll help stiffen up this foam and kind of lock down all the fuzzy edges too, and it gives us our good shadows for our dry brushing here. So the first coat going on is a slate gray and then a light gray. So we're going up in values, building those shadows by highlighting all the edges. A little bit of medium brown for the wood. And you can really see that grain kind of pop out. And a little bit of light brown. That color is actually called cinnamon. It's kind of a yellowish brown. It works pretty good. And then I use a tan or parchment color. That's my lightest value. And that got a little bit much there. Oops, no worries. That's my lightest value, so that'll give us the highest contrast. And that goes on the stone as well. So our wood has a nice aged, weathered look. Just the slightest touch of green on the lumber. And then I'll splotch that in here and there and all over the areas that are going to get flocking. So now we'll go over this piece with some washes. First wash is a burnt umber acrylic ink mixed with water, about 50-50. That little pot I've had, I just mixed this like 2 weeks ago and it stinks. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to keep your washes from smelling, I'd love to hear that in the comments. A little bit of bright green acrylic paint mixed with water, and then some Vallejo rust wash straight out of the bottle. And I just dribble that on, borrow a little bit from here and there, and get the values that I want. And once that's dried out, they're pretty muted. And you'll see, you can hardly tell. Now it's time for some flocking. I'm going to paint in some PVA glue. I'm just kind of dabbing that here and there. I want to have a little mossy areas, and of course our rotten plank. Some fine flocking, we'll sprinkle that over the whole piece and then shake off the excess, and that'll give us our first layer of texture. And then I'll be using some of my homemade mix. It's just preserved moss and a little bit of yellow flower flocking. I ran those through a coffee grinder to make them nice and fine. Sprinkle that on. And then that's sticking down to just some more PVA glue. So I got to get a good coat of that on there and press it down, and then really not too much is left. Now I'm going in with some watered down PVA glue, and I'm going to stick down some medium flocking. These are Woodland Scenics products here, the fine flocking and the medium flocking. When I take the excess off here, you'll see some glue halos shining through. So I'll just sprinkle on a little bit more of that fine flocking and kind of blend that in. If you let it dry, it's no big deal. You won't even tell. I get a little fussy here with my bushes. Getting that lichen to stick down sometimes is a little bit of a challenge. Some clump foliage here and there. Got to have places for little birds and the bees to hang out. I think one more piece of flocking right down there in that open area, and then we'll take a closer look. So that's tile number 13 of the Hidden Valley. There it is. So this one's really going up in elevation. You'll see it here with the neighbor tile. There we go. Give you a couple pictures to see. A little slice of that cake. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.